Ahoy guys, and welcome back to I Like Watches. Unfortunately, this is not the video I had initially planned to produce. I am really quite gutted. I was in the middle of preparing to review a stunning limited edition Seiko Alpinist, the SJE085J1. Francis and Gaye had one. They were selling it at half price. They'd lent it to me. I'd done some research on the movement, the 6L35, and the history of that watch. I'd even shown the packaging in the full review of the King Seiko because it's in a beautiful presentation box, but unfortunately it needed to go back pretty pronto. So I was left with no watch to review, and yeah, I've done some research on the movement inside that watch, the 6L35, and I've become a little bit fascinated by it. It was first in the SJE073J1, which was launched at Baselworld in 2018. It's a fairly high-end movement, and that watch is known as the Baby Snowflake, and it's limited to 1,881 watches. Now I'm blaming this on Alex again because it was Alex that introduced me to Chrono 24. So during the process of researching that movement, of course, I'd been looking at other watches that housed that movement, and I had seen that there were some of those Baby Snowflakes, the SJE073s, being sold on Chrono 24. You know where this is going, don't you? So I was determined to produce a video where I could talk to you about the 6L35 movement, and I had no other option but to buy a watch that housed that movement, and of course it had to be the Baby Snowflake, didn't it? That beautiful limited edition, proper Zaratsu polished watch. It's incredible, and it's now arrived. Totally Alex's fault. It's not my fault. I've used some of the money that I've raised from selling other watches on eBay to pay for this watch. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I may keep hold of it. I may sell it. Who knows? I might give it away, like I'm giving away this I was going to say baby Grand Seiko. No, it's an actual Grand Seiko. What's going on? Hey, what is going on? So anyway, I want to talk to you about the movement first before I show you this watch. I haven't even seen it yet, so I'm assuming the watch is in here. It is a hacking and hand wind movement, 28,800 beats per hour. I've done all this research, so I might as well share it with you. 45 hours of power reserve, 53-degree lift angle, plus 15 to minus 10 seconds a day. Nice. 26 joules. It's thin, 3.69 millimeters thick, this one, and it's 5.25 millimeters in diameter, which matches the ETA 2892, which is no coincidence. That was intended by Seiko. The 6L35 was first seen at Baselworld 2018 in the Presage SJE073J1 limited edition Baby Snowflake. Nice, limited to only 1,881 watches. It shares most of its characteristics with a 4L25 and 4L75 movement, which was made from 2007 and discontinued in 2013. That was a very high-end movement, or those were high-end movements that Seiko had made between 2007 and 2013. It was in the Sara 001, which cost at the time 189,000 yen. It had a 42-hour power reserve. That was the 4L25. It then changed to the 4L75, which was launched in the Creedor GCBW 993, costing 260,000 yen, and it ended up with 50 hours of power reserve. So that movement was essentially discontinued, and they've, I believe, used those movements to form the base caliber for this new 6L35. So it sounds like it should be on the level as the 6R35, but it is not at all. It is, I believe, a far superior movement. So you can see why I was really interested in showing you this movement in a watch. So here it is. Should we head over to the light box and unbox it and take a look at it? I think we should, shouldn't we? Yeah, let's do it. Now, when this watch launched in 2018, it would have cost you in the UK £2,000. But they are being sold on Chrono 24 for roughly £1,300, brand new. I imported this from a dealer in Japan. It cost me £1,250. There were some import taxes, so it ended up being closer to £1,500. But I'd done quite a bit of research on this watch as well, and I was honestly expecting it to have gone up in price. In fact, there are some dealers in the UK trying to sell this watch for £3,000. Why would you buy it for £3,000 when you can import it from Japan, brand new, for between £1,250 and £1,500. It seems crazy. Oh wow, that is pretty nice, isn't it? Let's pull this out. 3, 2, 1, and there it is. What does it say on the lid? Oh, same thing. All the booklets were in the outer box, so they're not in here. Let's have a look at the tags. It is known as the Sara 015 in Japan. Comfo Tex. I'm not familiar with that. There's 3 tags on this thing. SEIKO Presage. There it is. That looks very Grand Seiko, doesn't it? That bracelet. And in fact, that clasp as well. Let me grab my Grand Seiko, hang on. Soon to be someone else's Grand Seiko. At the end of the year, I will be giving this Grand Seiko away. Yeah, it's not quite the same, is it? A little bit similar. The links are actually very Grand Seiko. The SBGX 263 that I'm giving away doesn't have this style of bracelet. Unfortunately, it has a sort of fairly standard 3-link bracelet, but it is their cheapest Grand Seiko at £2,000. So this would have essentially cost exactly the same as this back in the day. Right, there we go. All the plastic has been removed, and first impressions are the finishing is pretty special, and it is nice and slim. They're obviously making the most of that sub 4mm thickness of the movement. You can definitely tell they've gone to some lengths to launch this movement in a pretty special watch. This watch looks a little bit like the Sarks 055. I've never managed to get my hands on one of those. Let me show you the 6L35. There it is. Looks a little bit like the Miyota 9015 with those 3 screws at the centre of the rotor. I am disappointed to report that there are no little baby screws. Grand Seikos have little screws either side of a sort of freestanding pin. So a screw this side and a screw this side. This looks like pin and collar, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, let's resize it and get it on the wrist. And here it is on my 7¼ inch-ish wrist. It does look beautifully finished, I gotta say. Sits nice and flat to the wrist. Look at that. Seikos generally wear very, very nicely, but there is some nice curvature to those lugs in this case, and it's obviously a particularly slim watch by the looks of it. Certainly for an automatic watch. And that dial, look at it. You can see why it's called the baby snowflake, and it looks like the applied indices have that sort of rainbow effect that I was demonstrating on this watch actually. There are some little micro grooves cut into the top surface. You can see it there at the 12 o'clock. Cut into the top surface of that applied index, and it gives that index, when it catches the light, sort of rainbow colours, and it looks like it's also happening. Look at the 3 o'clock index. If I just sort of move the watch around a little bit, I'm seeing some reds and some greens in there. So yeah, it does seem to be a sort of halfway house watch, this one, doesn't it? Not quite a Seiko and not quite a Grand Seiko. And you never know, it might actually be given away on I Like Watches. It doesn't take much these days for me to have these pangs of generosity. I am definitely going to be giving this one away, guys. Probably in the new year. It's looking less and less likely the review of this watch is going to reach the target of 250,000 views. And I don't want to keep setting lower and lower targets. So I think what's probably going to happen is in the new year, I will just close the giveaway and use a random comment picker to pick someone. So look out for that. It's pretty beautiful, isn't it? I've got to say. I do think I prefer champagne sunburst dials to snowflake dials. There is something really quite special about that colour and that sunburst effect. Really quite incredible. Which watch would you have, actually? Here's a question for you. Which watch would you have out of these two? The Quartz SBGX 263 or the limited edition Seiko SJE073J1 Baby Snowflake, limited to 1,881 units. They were both £2,000 retail. So which would you have? Let me know in the comment section, guys. I'm actually quite curious to know. Right, I really am going to leave it there. I need to leave you wanting more, don't I? So, yeah, come back for the full review. You'll see some lovely macro shots, all the facts, figures, stats and specifications. And, yeah, then I'll have to decide what I'm going to do with it. Take care, guys. Look after yourselves. Thanks for watching. You'll see me again very, very soon.